4.5 million view, 4.5 million buys. That was really Floyd Mayweather carrying him around the ring for as long as it was interesting.
It would have probably affected the sales on this one because people would have thought it would have been the same outcome. Now Fury's been on the seat of his arse in the third round. It may actually increase the interest. There may be more of an appetite for it because I believe that this crossover thing is going to continue. I think that there is going to be more of it.
But I also think it raises the question, because I've made this point on a number of occasions about Fury and Joshua and how Fury went over to America, did his Nacho Libre impressions, did his Apollo Creed stuff, right? Went and fought Wilder in America and did decent numbers, and I thought he'd cracked the American marketplace. And Anthony Joshua had gone over there. He wasn't particularly well known. There wasn't a huge opinion of him in terms of the body of work that he had. And probably when you look more and more at his body of work, I think there's some unfairness, and some of it from me as well. He gets knocked on his backside by Andy Ruiz, gets the rematch in Saudi. But the question is Fury as big a deal in boxing terms as we think he is? Because I think, and it's not because I'm a convert, and all of a sudden I've had an epiphany, I think that Joshua puts more eyes on the prize. I think there's something about Anthony Joshua, and it may well be like the Adam Catterall argument, that when you look at Fury's body of work, 6 world title fights, 3 against the same fella, 2 against others that he's already beaten, and then you look at Joshua's, he's had 12 world title fights, and his body of work would look on paper to be more significant, and then you look at the pay-per-views that Anthony has gotten, whether it's 1.2 million or 1.4 million against Joseph Parker or whatever it is, and I think there's a debate suggesting that he got 1 million or best part of against Robert Helenius. Right. All of this, I think, if you put Joshua in the fight against Ngaonnou, I think you'd have got more.
Absolutely.
Well. There is Simon Jordan and company speak of the comparison between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. And Simon Jordan questions, how big of a star is Tyson Fury? Okay. And to counterpunch that, to answer everyone's question, in my opinion, okay, would be Tyson Fury's popularity right now was increasing. It definitely was. He was increasing in popularity. He was increasing in salary. He was increasing in buzz. Okay. He was looked at as one of the best heavyweights that we have in this era. That's what he was. Okay. So to answer the question, how big is Tyson Fury? Well, he was getting pretty big until this year. 2023 came around for Tyson Fury, and a lot of people started doubting him. Okay, first off, because of the whole Usyk scenario, well, Usyk came out like a G, basically, and asked for that 30%. A lot of people still rode with Tyson Fury, but then Tyson Fury pretty much made an ass out of himself. So a lot of people started kind of dropping off the bandwagon. Okay, but he was still popular, for the general masses of people. And, there were many fights that could have been made that didn't get made. He called out for Joshua again, and he called out for Andy Ruiz, and, he thought that, hey, he's that next big guy and the next big star. So Anthony Joshua in his last couple fights didn't look so good. So I think by facade, honestly, Tyson Fury was getting better because there was no one really left in the UK to ride or to roll with. Okay, because AJ is under reconstruction at the moment. So the fights that he's taken, which have been kind of dramatic, honestly, with the whole Dillian White switch out for Robert Helenius. So, that was one thing all by itself. But nonetheless, you could tell with the opposition that he was fighting, his stock dropped. Okay. Now, Tyson Fury's fluctuated on the high-end numbers for a while until last Saturday. Okay, last Saturday was a shit show. It was, hey, if you didn't think that he had fallen off, try now. Okay, and I think that's what the deal is. I think, to answer people's question, how was he then? Yeah, he was pretty big then, but now he's not. It's like he damn near screwed over his whole legacy in one night. First of all, talking a lot of shit, promising what he'll do to the fighter, making these demands and, calling the shots, and then making the Usyk fight right after that, before that fight happened. And he goes in and gets dropped and gets beat up and get manhandled by a UFC knockout artist by the name of Francis Ngannou. So where he was, I don't think really matters now. I think the question is, where is he? And I think where Tyson Fury is, he's deep on the redemption list, people. He needs to redeem himself. And to answer Simon Jordan's question about Anthony Joshua, would that be a bigger fight? Of course it would now, simply because he's beat up on Tyson Fury and he showed his worthiness. If he has a good fight with AJ, okay, and it doesn't matter who wins or loses, he's still going to be recognized as a head figure in the sport of boxing. Okay, he's going to be that guy that gets the stripes. Because let's say if he hurts AJ, but AJ ends up beating him or stopping him or whatever, well, it's still going to be one hell of a fight, and it's going to fill seats. And I think at that point, the UFC fans over here from the US of A will join in, because they will know what this guy now is capable of. Look what he did to Tyson Fury. So what people do, they apply what a fighter did to another fighter to each and every other fighter possible in the division. And I think that's what people will do, because they're like, okay, if he can get Fury down, there's a good chance he can get Joshua down. But then Joshua, let's see what he has left, because he's been tripping lately, right? So a lot of things are going to have to be answered, and a lot of people are going to be there in attendance to see it get answered. Okay, so yes, it's going to be a bigger fight, because the test run was with Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury himself knew, like, hey, this was a harder fight than I anticipated, and he's not even trying to fight Alexander Usyk now, and we know about the possible lawsuit and all that stuff. So yes, his stock is dropping because he's not been a man of his word, really none this year. He's contradicted himself many, many times. The fights that we should got or should have had, we didn't see, okay? This is his first entanglement of the year, Tyson Fury, with Francis Ngannou. So, it's a lot of stuff to really deal with that. Whereas Anthony Joshua is a guy that still has a big name, and he still has that Saudi Arabia presence, I think, but I'm not for certain, because let's face it, AJ did act like an ass after that fight. So we will see if they want to bring him back, but I did hear them wanting to bring AJ back. So that's where he's at the moment. Okay. So I have to agree with Simon Jordan. I think that fight will be bigger than Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, because really of Francis, though, and AJ. See, AJ is that other guy. And then they're going to see, and then people are always going to make a comparison. I mean, just by default, they're going to make that's natural. How did AJ do versus how did Tyson do? Did AJ run? Did AJ elude? Did AJ, avoid a confrontation with the big, strong, hungry predator king of Ngaonnou? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that we need to discuss during that. But I do think AJ would be a better draw, because Tyson Fury has freshly fell from grace. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Simon Jordan and company admitting that Anthony Joshua would be a bigger draw with Francis Ngannou than a rematch with Tyson Fury, or not any other fight. But out of those fights, of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!